Alright, we are live on YouTube, starting us up on Rumble. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about interesting and important happenings events that happened today throughout the annals of recorded history. I am Xander. I am joined by...
Goose?
Yes. Goose.exe, and we will be joined by the Golden Loon here relatively shortly, but most importantly, there he is, he's coming in. Most importantly, you, thank you very much for coming in. Today is April 19th, 2025. Starting us off in the year 65. Hold on, I need to get my thing up here. There we go. The freedman Milicus betrayed Piso's plot to kill the Emperor Nero, and all of the conspirators were arrested. Whoops. So,
good.
Yeah. 1506, the Lisbon Massacre began, in which accused Jews were slaughtered by Portuguese Catholics.
Jeez.
I mean, this keeps happening, and why?
All the way back to the... And prior to the 50s,
obviously. Way back, yeah. Well, I mean,
Christ, for credit.
Well, they killed him because, he was he was trying to include the Goyim in everything. So... moving on up to 1529, beginning of the Protestant Reformation. After the Second Diet of Speyer banned Lutheranism, a group of rulers, or in German, the Fürst, and independent cities protested the reinstatement of the Edict of Worms. I don't really know much about the Edict of Worms.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. 1655, Adriana Nussmann became Dutch first actress to perform on stage professionally in the Netherlands in the play Onvergelijkenia at Amsterdam Schouwburg. Can't pronounce these things.
I assume before that they had males dressed up as women.
Yes.
To play the roles. Okay.
Yes, and this is the word I tried to pronounce right there. If you can do it better, go for it. Yeah.
I know exactly how to say it, but I'm not going to embarrass you.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. 1713, Holy Roman Emperor Charles VI issued the Pragmatic Sanction, decreeing that Habsburg possessions could be inherited by a daughter. Now, from our other source here, this gets in a little bit more meat on the bones, so to speak. With no living male heirs, Charles VI, Holy Roman Emperor, issued the Pragmatic Sanction of 1713 to ensure that Habsburg lands and the Austrian throne would be inheritable by a female. His daughter and successor, Maria Theresa, was not born until 1717, 4 years later.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, but then she got it and everything, so, yeah. And those Habsburgs with those chins, no, seriously, hold on a second, Habsburg chin. Yeah, no, it's because of, incredibly inbreeding. So, this guy here is
wow.
But look at that chin.
Yeah.
Artist renditions.
Face, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
It's the Habsburg jaw. Sorry, what's up?
Mind if I interject?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Habsburgs were they were the Austro-Hungarian family?
More Austrian, but their lands eventually did become Austria-Hungary, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. But they were Austrian, at least.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Moving on up, 1770, Captain James Cook, still holding the rank of lieutenant, sighted the eastern coast of what is now Australia. And it says here, he wrote in his logbook that, quote, what we have as yet seen of this land appears rather low and not very hilly, the face of the country green and woody, but the seashore is all white sand, end quote. So that's him putting that note in his journal when they discovered, at the time they called it Terra Australis. So,
you know, what amazes me here is Captain James Cook lives on in history as opposed to thousands of other captains of the sea.
Well, what's interesting is Captain James Cook, he pissed off Hawaiians to the point where they killed him. Right here, killed in a fight with Hawaiians. You want to talk about the people who are very laid back?
Yeah.
Hawaiians are on the top of that list.
Piss them off.
Yeah, what did he do to get killed by Hawaiians, also known as people inhabiting the Sandwich Islands before it was called Hawaii? So that's what the white people called it, at least, the Sandwich Islands. So... but yeah, here's a picture of it. Captain James Cook with Australia and everything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back into showing pictures pertaining to what we're talking about.
Good.
But 5 years later, the American Revolutionary War began with the battles of Lexington and Concord, resulting with a victory of American Minutemen and other militia over British forces, later referred to as the Shot Heard Round the World. Here's a picture of it.
That was huge.
Yeah, it says here it began in Lexington, Massachusetts, with the shot heard around the world, fired later that day in Concord. So it started in Lexington and then moved on to Concord.
Yeah.
So, 1775, we have a couple of these actually. So we have Minutemen Captain John Parker ordered not to fire unless fired upon. This, I don't believe this is the Battle of Bunker Hill. That's don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. So, and that's later on in the Revolution. But yeah, like that's. It sounds like this has been the MO for the United States since before it was the United States. Don't fire unless fired upon. You know, so like more recently in wars in the Middle East and everything, like our soldiers see enemy combatants walking down the street with RPGs. Obviously, they're going to use them against them, but we can't kill them first. We have to wait till they shoot us first, and then we unload. So, I mean, that's cool and all, but like then we're the first ones getting hurt. Not
to some degree, but we had some in Iraq and so forth. We had some really great snipers.
Oh yeah.
So not 100%.
Yep. Right here, 1775 as well. During the American Revolutionary War, following the battles of Lexington and Concord, the siege of Boston began. Oh, hold on a second, I mispronounced that. The siege of Boston began with American militias blocking land access to the British-held city. You know, hemming in the British Army garrison right there from another source. We also have Paul Revere, William Dawes, and Samuel Prescott were captured by British troops riding from Lexington to Concord. Prescott escaped to warn Concord, as does Dawes, who act as a decoy. And everybody gives credit to Paul Revere, but he was only one of dozens of riders, and for whatever reason, his name is the top of the list. Yeah.
I wonder if he's the founding member of the band Paul Revere and the Raiders.
I don't think so.
No?
No. Moving on up to 1782, John Adams secured Dutch Republic's recognition of the United States as an independent government. A house he purchased in The Hague became America's first embassy. And this is a plaque on it. Here Wonde van 1781 through 1782, John Adams, first U.S. ambassador to the Netherlands, second president of the United States of America. Awesome. So our first embassy was in the Netherlands.
I didn't know
so
that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's neat information.
Yeah, it is. Moving on up, 1809, an Austrian coup was defeated by the forces of the Duchy of Warsaw at the Battle of Resin, part of the struggles of the Fifth Coalition. On that same day, the Austrian main army was defeated by a First French Empire Corps led by Louis-Nicolas Davout at the Battle of Teugn-Hausen in Bavaria, part of a 4-day campaign that ended in a French victory. So they defeated a coup, but their military got destroyed. So that's
costly.
I don't know if that's a bad or a good day. That's weird, you know?
It's a good day at a high cost, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, they won, but what did it cost them?
Yeah. 1810, Venezuela achieved home rule. Vincent Imparan, governor of the Capacity General, was removed by the people of Caracas, and a junta was installed. Juntas are never good. That's not good right there. No. Moving on up to 1818, French physicist Augustin Fresnel signed his preliminary note on the theory of diffraction, deposited on the following day. The document ended with what is now called the Fresnel integrals. So this is the diffraction, like basically, you know, different light, you know, wavelengths and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool right there.
That's huge.
Yeah. 1839, the Treaty of London established Belgium as a kingdom and guaranteed its neutrality. Now this is where things get weird because our main source here, 1839, says the Treaty of London constitutes Belgium an independent kingdom and Luxembourg a grand duchy. Now I look back here and guarantees its neutrality. What does this mean? So like guarantees Belgium is neutral or guarantees that Britain is neutral against Belgium?
Well, the only guarantee for neutrality can only come from Britain, meaning they can't guarantee neutrality from another country, so it has to be Britain.
Yeah, okay. 1852, the California Historical Society was founded. Hey, out here, nice. 1861, during the American Civil War, the Baltimore riot of 1861, a pro-secession mob in Baltimore attacked the United States Army troops marching through the city. So this was during the Civil War. Baltimore riots, 4 soldiers and 9 civilians were killed, from our main source here, right here.
She said, isn't that, when was the Civil War start then?
1860.
So it was underway. I was thinking 62.
1860, 1861, and ended in 65.
Okay.
Well, we spoke last week, right? Fort Sumter?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Let's see here. 1861 as well. Lincoln ordered a blockade of Confederate ports, the Civil War. And that was major because a lot of people don't realize the UK were trying to supply the Confederacy because, they didn't care who won. They just wanted us to weaken ourselves, and then they can come back for a third time, you know?
Yeah, split the country, divide and conquer.
Yep. 1874, the barracks on Alcatraz Island was destroyed by a fire. That's not good. A lot of people don't know that Alcatraz, the Rock, used to be a military base and all that stuff.
Yes, did know that.
1883, British banker Thomas Agnew and others founded the Liverpool Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, the LSPCC, based on Agnew's observation of a similar group in New York City. Its success led to a national organization. That's pretty cool. Got to protect the children.
Yeah.
So, 1890, Henry Morton Stanley was awarded the Order of Leopold in Brussels, proclaimed a hero, and taken from one banquet hall to another. It must have been interesting. Like, come over here and party, now go over there and party, and then, he's the talk of the town. 1892, Charles Jurier took the first American-made automotive for a test drive.
Huh.
So that's it right there, I believe. Yeah. So first one made here.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Europe was ahead of us automotive-wise, weren't they?
No, I think, I don't know.
Okay.
I think the car was made over here. Although I do know that...
Someone give us an answer.
Yeah, let us know in the comments section. We would look it up ourselves, but we have a 15-page script today, so we got to go. Yeah, today's a big day. 1897, the first Boston Marathon, BAA road race, was won by John J. McDermott in 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 10 seconds. The world's oldest annual marathon inspired by success of the first marathon at the 1896 Summer Olympics.
I wonder what times they run today. I mean, not...
I don't know.
That's the guy that came in. He's the
first guy.
Yeah. I wonder if they're, 2.5 minutes or 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I wonder what it is on average. Not the guy that wins, but it's probably a lot faster. Anyways, move on.
Let us know in the comments section. I'm trying to see if we have any. This is not showing me my Oh, here we go. Now I can see it. All right. What else do we got here? 1900, highest scoring opening game. Phillies defeated the Braves 19-17 in 10.
Ooh,
so,
that's a high-scoring game.
Yeah, highest scoring opening game.
Okay.
I wonder if that record still stands. Oh, let us know in the comments section.
That's a long ways back. I'd be surprised if it still stands.
Who knows?
Yeah.
1901, in the Philippines, recently captured insurgent leader Emilio Aguinaldo issued a proclamation advising his countrymen to end their rebellion and use of peaceful means to work with the U.S. towards independence. And the Philippines has been working with us ever since.
Yeah, they're a good friend.
Yeah. 1903, the Kishinev pogrom in Kishinev, Bessarabia, began, forcing tens of thousands of Jews to later seek refuge in Palestine, not Israel, Palestine, and the Western world. People are starting to forget that Palestine was there first. So, 1904, a bunch of Toronto was destroyed by a fire. Part of the whole mud flood thing. So many major fires in major cities at around the same time. There's this whole thing going on. Like, look into the mud flood out there.
Never heard of it.
Interesting. It's this whole conspiracy about how they've erased history, and part of that, everything's coming out and everything. Like, you remember the structures they discovered under the pyramid and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's all stuff they were trying to suppress. Like, they discovered that back in 2016. And they tried to suppress it. So for whatever reason. 1906, the San Francisco earthquake ended, killing 452. Now, that can't be the Great Earthquake, can it? That's around the same time.
Yeah, it is. It's got to be. Only because I'm looking at the date.
You think that there'd be a lot more to that,
A lot more deaths?
Well, no, a lot more information.
Yeah.
It's just a blip. And I
believe that's the one. That's right around early 1900s.
Yeah. 3 years later, 1909, a convention with Turkey reorganized Bulgarian independence. That's pretty cool. 1909 as well, Joan of Arc received beatification by the Roman Catholic Church. That they made her a saint. So that's good. 1919, in the year 1919, Leslie Irvin of the United States made the first premeditated free fall parachute jump. So intentionally jumping out of an airplane. Yeah. So the first skydiver. And that's obviously not a photograph, but that would have been wild to see somebody jump out of a plane with a parachute.
Yeah, let's test this baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the inventor of the parachute, I believe, if I have my history correct, because I know this happened, but I'm not sure if this is the same guy, but to try to test it, he jumped off of the Eiffel Tower.
Ooh.
It didn't work, but he broke his legs. So he survived.
So he survived. It
Yeah.
slowed him down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enough, but
Yeah.
not to save his legs. Let's see here. 1921, a funeral of the last German empress, Augusta Victoria. 1923, new Egyptian laws allowed suffrage for men except soldiers. So you can fight and die for your country, but you can't vote because that makes sense. So
It doesn't.
I know, right?
That again?
New Egyptian law allows suffrage for men, which is suffrage, the right to vote,
Yeah.
except soldiers. What?
Wow.
Why fight then? That's stupid. 1927, actress Mae West was found guilty of obscenity and corrupting the morals of youth in a New York stage play entitled Sex. She is sentenced to 10 days in prison and fined $500. The resulting publicity launched her Hollywood career. That backfired.
Yes.
So,
No.
well, for the
For her,
justice
it
system.
didn't.
No.
It elevated. Mae
Yeah.
West is a well-known
Well, it backfired for
sex symbol of the day.
It backfired for the moral integrity of our culture.
Yes.
1928, New York Yankees are out of first place for the first time since May of 1926.
Good Lord.
So roughly 2 years, whatever, or a year and change. I don't know the exact, but that's a long time being number
now
one.
they're claiming, the Dodgers are predominant because they bought their way to the top, is what they say, and they have a huge payroll for sure.
Yeah, but they keep dodging the accusations.
Oh, boo.
1928 as well, the 125th and final facility of the Oxford English Dictionary was published. So every word and everything up to that time, I'm sure that they've added more to it by now. So, 1932, Bonnie Parker was captured in a failed hardware store burglary. Yeah, that Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Anybody? And subsequently jailed. A grand jury failed to indict her, however, and she was released a few months later. So,
Big mistake.
That came back to bite him in the ass. 1932, U.S. President Herbert Hoover suggests a 5-day work week. All right.
There you go.
It's pretty cool. And you want to talk about a big mistake? 1933, FDR announced the U.S. will leave a gold standard. Up yours, FDR, you piece of shit. Awful president. Although not as bad as Woodrow Wilson, but close.
That's true.
They're
both bad.
Yeah, he just, Woodrow Wilson brought in the IRS and the Federal Reserve and all that stuff.
Scum.
Yeah, and then this guy got us off the gold standard, and then Nixon.
Both of them are socialists.
And well, so is Nixon, for opening up trade with China and
that was a
doing
big mistake, too.
Yeah, and doing
I was
the final.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, you got caught up in the bullshit.
I was all for it. I believed in peace through.
You believed in open and fairness,
trade.
and they believe in dominance.
That's the problem. It didn't go to fairness.
Yeah, no, it went the other way. 1934, Shirley Temple appeared in her first feature-length film, Stand Up and Cheer. Woo! 1935, Bride of Frankenstein, horror film classic and sequel to Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff and Elsa Lancaster, was released.
Old-time
pretty
movies.
big,
I love that. Seen that many times. Not for a lot of years, though.
I have not seen it, but that's one of the first famous sequels,
Yeah.
I believe. Maybe the first.
Oh, it's not a sequel, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sequel. It says right there.
Okay.
I mean, it's a Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
If it's
That's
not a
right.
sequel, who the hell is...
Frankenstein's the original. Yeah.
Now, what's weird is that she's the bride of the monster, not of the creator. People
right.
misconstrue the monster as Frankenstein. No, the doctor was Frankenstein, and the
Yeah.
guy with the square head and the bolts in his neck, he's the monster.
Yeah.
So it should be Bride of Frankenstein's monster.
Well, he was named after Dr. Frankenstein, so his name was Frankenstein.
Oh, he was?
The monster, yeah. He
Oh.
was named after Dr. Frankenstein, I believe.
I didn't know.
As I recall.
And then,
I
of
haven't
course,
seen
we
it.
have Young Frankenstein, which is a classic.
Yeah.
With
But he was all-time great. Boris
Karloff?
Karloff. Oh,
Ah.
man.
Yeah, he looks like it.
He, in later years...
He kind of looks like Granddad a little bit.
Early 60s, he released a record called The Monster Mash.
Oh, is it a Graveyard Smash?
Yeah. That's Boris Karloff.
Nice. 1936, the Jaffa riots commenced, initiating the 1936 through 1939 Arab revolt in Palestine. And from our primary source, it calls it a anti-Jewish riot. But it's not just anti-Jewish, but they're it's a leftist source. They're trying to propaganda.
What year is that again?
36.
Yeah, no, they weren't there
In
yet.
Palestine, like, what do you get when you have a bunch of Arabs and a bunch of non-Arabs in the same area? Not good, because they hate everything. That's not them. So, 1938, Baker Bowl, Philadelphia. Phillies infielder Emmett Hine Mueller and Brooklyn Dodger outfielder Ernie Coy both homer in their first MLB at bats.
Oh.
It's rare enough for somebody to do a home run at their first at bat, but you got it twice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the same game, like Baker Bowl, maybe. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we have Phillies and Brooklyn. So, was this the same game, or were there two games? Were they doing multiple games back in that time? I don't know.
Well, they're not telling us where it was.
Philadelphia. The Baker Bowl, Philadelphia, right here.
No, it says Philadelphia Phillies infielder. That's
No,
straight.
Baker Bowl, Philadelphia, semicolon, Phillies
okay.
infielder. Yeah, so...
Sounds like then it's the same. Gotta be. Well,
it has to be the same game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
1939, Connecticut finally approved the Bill of Rights, 148 years late. It took them a while.
Wow. Let's get around to that, shall we?
Yeah, that's almost as bad as, what was it, Tennessee or Kentucky ratifying the anti-slavery amendment, in 1990 or whatever it was?
Geez.
Yeah. It took them a long time, too. 1940, Lakeshore Limited derailed, speed killing 34 near Little Falls, New York. This is written weird. Derails, speed killing 34. What?
I don't know what
Do they mean at speed? And at what speed?
What does derail mean? It's a train?
Well, it's a train.
Okay.
So...
They don't tell us it's a train until you see her derail.
Yeah, I mean, here it is right here.
It can be.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, move on. That thing is...
1941, milk ration in Holland, World War II, so
Yeah.
of course. 1943, Albert Hoffman deliberately dosed himself with LSD for the first time 3 days after having discovered its effects back on April 16th. This event is commonly known and celebrated as Bicycle Day. Okay, because bicycles are indicative of LSD. Everybody knows that.
I had no idea LSD went back to the 40s.
Oh yeah, 43. It just said 3 days prior
Yeah.
he accidentally took it.
I don't know if he accidentally took it.
No, the first time he did.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this as a fact.
Yeah, okay. I said, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing.
1943 as well, Jews refused to surrender the Warsaw Ghetto to SS officer Jürgen Stroop, who then ordered its destruction, beginning the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. Yikes, Holocaust, awful stuff happening. 1945, diplomatic relations between the Soviet Union and Guatemala were established. Okay.
How weird.
I know, right? Guatemala? Who cares?
Guatemala?
Well, that's why it's in here. So it's a weird article. It's just 1947 AAU record for a 25-foot rope climb set in 4.7 seconds. What? How do you climb that fast?
And why do they have that in college? AAU? No, that's not college.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And does the record still stand, is my question.
Or is anybody doing it in the AAU?
I don't know. And hello, RMG. I just saw your comment. How are you doing today? Let's see here. 1948, the American Broadcasting Company ABC TV network debuted.
Oh, man.
And today it's a propaganda machine.
So I'm older than ABC? Holy crap.
Wow, you're older than the alphabet? Holy crap, you're older than the written word. Yikes. Man, I knew you were old, but damn.
Thanks. Wow.
1948, Chiang Kai-shek elected president of nationalist China.
Yeah.
Pretty big right there. He was not the best person, but, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Am I right?
Yep.
In 1949, Yankees dedicated a plaque for Babe Ruth, and actually, I think I'm behind on my pictures here, so, okay, yeah, well, we're going to be getting to that here in a minute. 1951, General Douglas MacArthur ended his military career.
Yeah.
And remember we talked about last Saturday how he was approached to become the baseball commissioner?
Oh, yeah.
Of all people to become the baseball commissioner, Douglas MacArthur? Why? I mean, that's cool, but that's weird. 1954, seven-time winner of Boston Marathon, 65-year-old Clarence DeMar, ran his last race at Boston, finishing 78th. For a seven-time winner, that's really good.
Yeah.
1955, the German automaker Volkswagen, also known as a people's car. A lot of people don't realize that Hitler was behind that. After 6 years of selling cars in the United States, founded Volkswagen of America in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, to standardize its dealer and service network. Because we had tariffs back then, you know?
Volkswagen was way ahead of its time.
Yeah. 1956, baseball. Oh, wait, no, we'll get that. We have the first MLB baseball game in New Jersey. The Brooklyn Dodgers beat Philadelphia Phillies 5-4 at Roosevelt Stadium in New Jersey, or in Jersey City.
No, I was just going to say, obviously they weren't from Jersey. They're from Brooklyn.
But they wear jerseys.
So, just move on. I'm done. Move on. You killed me.
Well, actually, we're going to be talking about more jerseys here. Baseball uniforms in 1960 began displaying players' names on their backs, so that's why I have this picture here.
Okay.
So it's Fox for Chicago, whoever that was.
Oh, Fox. Yeah.
All right.
I can't think of his name, but it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Jamie
First
Foxx?
name. Jim Fox.
Jim Fox. Huh. All right. 1960 as well, Comiskey's Park famed exploding scoreboard began operating. We spoke about this last week, and they attach fireworks whenever they're home run, woo!
Yep.
You know, it blows up with all the pyrotechnics.
Still done in some parts.
Nice. 1960 as well, students in South Korea held a nationwide pro-democracy protest against President Syngman Rhee, eventually forcing him to resign. The power is always in the people. You, viewer, you are the power. No government, no democracy, no republic, no fascist, no dictatorship, no, any other thing. You're the power. Never forget that.
Pretty hard sometimes when you don't have the guns.
Well,
I'm not arguing what you're saying. I'm just saying the difficulty of it
well,
can be extremely.
That's why I don't have a rebuttal to what you're saying. You're right, but something needs to be done. Moving on up to 1963, Johnny Cash released single "Ring of Fire."
Oh yeah,
written by his future wife June Carter and Merle Kilgore.
No,
that's weird.
Wrote that.
It is that song because I listened to it last night, and it's about a breakup. Like I got burn, 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 and it feels like a ring of fire.
Yeah.
But it was written by his future wife of all people. What the? Okay. 1965, first all-news radio station, WINS 1010 AM in New York City, began operating. All right. All news. Cool. 65 as well, at a cost of $20,000, the outer Astrodome ceiling was painted because of the sun's glare, and this caused the grass to die. Oh, well.
Oh,
man.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Neither did they, I guess.
Yeah, well, obviously not.
I wonder if that's where the AstroTurf came in.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good thought. AstroTurf, Astrodome.
Well, that's where it first came from. Phony grass.
Yeah.
It was done at the
I always
Astrodome.
thought because it was space age, like
No,
Astro.
no, it comes from the Astrodome. They put it in there first. I didn't realize the grass died when they tinted it.
Well, I think you're onto something with that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Sounds like it.
1966, in first regular season game at Anaheim Stadium, the Angels lost 3-1 to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. 67, Casino Royale, James Bond comedy film starring David Niven and Peter Sellers, premiered based on the Ian Fleming novel. I didn't realize it was a comedy film. Usually James Bond and comedy are not, connected.
Yeah.
He's a spy. He's killing people. Like how is that funny? Then again, we have Austin Powers, so that definitely is a comedy film. Let's see, 1967, the Beatles signed a contract agreeing to stay together for 10 years, and they don't.
No. They
No.
didn't make it.
Yeah. 1971, Charles Manson was sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment for conspiracy in the Tate LaBianca murders. Yep. 71 as well, Sierra Leone became a republic. This is their national day, and Siaka Stevens was their president.
On Manson.
Yeah.
First guy put to death, right? It was the original. Yeah, original.
He wasn't
deal.
put to death.
No, he was sentenced to death. Isn't that what it said?
Yeah,
Right?
sentenced to death, but
And he's the
commuted.
first man to be sentenced to death without actually being there during the murders.
So he was the first one to
That I know of.
to
I believe
be
that's correct.
to be sentenced for doing the order outside of government.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wonder if that's true. Let us know in the comments section. That's a really interesting point right there. Pardon me, point right there. Let's see here. 1971 as well. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, aka the Soviet Union. Salyut 1 was launched. This was the first manned lab, a space station in orbit. So right here. So the first space station, the first manned lab. Once again, the Soviets kicking our ass up and down the field in the space race. Yet, like they're the first into space, first animal in space, first man in space, first woman in space, first to land a drone on the, first to get to the moon, first to land a drone on the moon, first to get to Venus, first to land a drone on Venus. But we land on the moon and we win the space race because that's how it works. Okay. Let's see here. 71 as well. After smashing 124 in first innings, Indian cricket opener Sunil Gavaskar made 220 in second innings in the drawn fifth test against the West Indies in ports of Spain, Trinidad. And the loon here is in Spain without the S. So,
Cricket.
Yeah. I had to. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
It's just so much fun. 72, Bangladesh became a member of the British Commonwealth. Okay. 72 as well. Hungary revised its constitution to declare itself a socialist state. Uh-oh. That's not good there. 1972 as well. Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope opened at Playhouse, New York City for 1,065 performances. Kind of reminds me of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. But, like, man, of all play titles, this is very, this reminds me of the day and age we live. Don't bother me, I can't cope. Leave me alone. Ah! Everybody's going crazy.
Never heard of it. Don't know what it's really about.
I guess insecurity, maybe?
I don't know.
75, India's first satellite, Aryabhata, was launched into orbit from Kapustin Yar, Russia. Soviet Union. 75 as well, South Vietnamese forces withdrew from the town of Xuan Loc in the last major battle of the Vietnam War. Yeah, wrapping up. 1 year later, 1976, a violent F5 tornado, as if there would be a peaceful F5 tornado.
Yeah.
Struck around Brownwood, Texas, injuring 11 people. Now, this part's wild. 2 people were thrown at least 1,000 yards, or 910 meters, by the twister and survived uninjured.
Oh, man.
Like, can you imagine getting picked up and then put, okay, like, I'm moving, I'm leaving. Like,
wow.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Like, 1981, Oakland.
As they say, excuse me, that was an E-ride.
71, Oakland.
Gotta be old to know what that means.
Oh, well, I'm not that. Well, to some people I am, I guess, now, 71, Oakland A's ran a record to 11-10. So, 11 to no, not 11-10. 11 to none, sorry. 11 to none.
So they were undefeated.
Yeah. Huh.
For an 11-game winning streak.
And I wonder if that record still stands. So, 1982, former Cuban marathon cheat Rosie Ruiz was arrested for embezzling $60,000. Wow, she just can't stop doing crimes, can she? Cheating in marathons and now embezzling. Dude, like, this person is scum. 1982, Grinan Bluford announced as the first black U.S. citizen NASA astronaut. Cool. And we also have Sally Ride, who's named the first U.S. woman astronaut. So, nice. 1984, Advanced Austria Fair was proclaimed as Australia. Whoops. Was proclaimed as Australia's national anthem with green and gold as the national colors.
Well, that's really late. 1982 to have a
1984, yeah.
A national anthem.
Yeah, that is kind of late.
Yeah.
Well, they could have had one before, and then they changed it.
True.
84 as well. Nemesis, Death Star of Dinosaurs first appears in print, Nature magazine. I guess just talking about. Well, Nemesis, Nibiru, Planet X. Okay. People believe that there's a planet that we can't see that affected some kind of gravity and then sent the asteroid to our planet that killed the dinosaurs. So, then there's also a theory that the asteroid itself was a planet and it merged with us, and that's why we can't see it anymore. And then that's how the moon was made. That's another theory right there. I personally believe that the moon is hollow, and all that stuff. But let's move on up to 1985. Here we go. 200 ATF and FBI agents laid siege to the compound of the white supremacist survivalist group, the Covenant, the Sword, and the Arm of the Lord in Arkansas. The CSA surrendered 2 days later. And it's not going to be the first time we're going to be hearing about something like that. 1986, Michael Spinks. What a name, Spinks.
Spinks, yeah, Michael Spinks.
Yeah, defeated Larry Holmes in 15 for heavyweight boxing title.
Yeah. That was a surprise.
Yeah. 87, Brendan Kurupu scored 201 on Test cricket debut, Sri Lanka versus New Zealand. I had to hit you again.
Two?
I had.
I'm going to leave if there's a third.
You weren't expecting it.
I lived through one. I thought I was home free. A third, I'm gone.
1987, the LA Clippers ended a season with a terrible 12-70 record. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yikes.
You won 12 games out of an 82-game season.
Oh, wow.
Yikes. What year was that?
My birth year, 87.
So it says L.A. Clippers, but I can't remember when they came up here. They must have been here by it.
Are you thinking about the Lakers?
No. They
So
were the San Diego Clippers at one time.
Okay. Well, we have a little bit of time, so I'm going to look that up here really quick, actually. When did
Clippers moved to LA.
Clippers come to LA? Los Angeles Clippers, founded in 1970.
Yeah, but then,
they were the Buffalo Braves from
Yeah.
1970 through 78, San Diego Clippers from 70 to 84, and Los Angeles Clippers from 84 to now.
so 82, they were still the San Diego Clippers.
So,
That's
wow.
wrong. They got it wrong.
San Diego Clippers.
Yeah,
And
because I was wondering. Oh, no, that's
actually-
87. I'm sorry. It's right. LA, 87.
You're fucking my brain.
I thought it was 82. Okay. So LA is right.
Okay.
I thought we caught them.
Oh, man. Let's see here. 1987 as well. The last wild condor was captured on California Wildlife Reserve. Oh, man. We don't have wild condors anymore? That's not good.
Well, why would you capture it?
For preservation, rather than having it die in nature, you can have it die in I don't know.
Well, if you had two, you could at least breed them. I could at least get that.
Yeah. 1987, though, The Simpsons first appeared as a series of shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show, first starting with Good Night. So, happy birthday, Simpsons.
Yeah.
89, Central Park 5, a violent struggle snuggle of jogger Tricia Millay in New York City's Central Park became one of the most widely publicized crimes of the 1980s. 5 teenagers were wrongfully convicted and spent between 6 to 12 years in prison. Yikes.
Ooh.
Absolute yikes.
Yeah.
Man. 89, and we heard about this. A gun turret exploded on the USS Iowa, killing 47 sailors.
Ooh.
We were on the Iowa.
Yes.
And they told us about that, and there's this whole conspiracy because one of the sailors who died was known to be not straight, and there's this whole belief that they killed him along with a lot of other people just to kill him because he was not straight.
That would just add to the horror.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, I hope that's not true.
Well, I hope not, but I don't know. Because it was in port. Like, it wasn't, like, being attacked or anything. It just blew up,
I can't remember the whole story. I do recall hearing it, but I can't remember the story.
1989.
That was a fun deal, going on the Iowa.
Yeah, the Iowa. It was great. 89, Republic D on Sierra Leone. Okay, we spoke about that earlier. 1990, Pistons and 76ers get into a fight, accruing $162,500 in fines. That is the NBA record. I wonder if that record has been broken. I hope not. But, man, $162,000 in fines from a fight. That's crazy.
Yeah, they have buckled down so hard on fighting that very rarely do you see, you'll see them get together and grab a little bit and then they split them all up. But they have just, I can't remember his name, was with the Lakers. Washington, I think was his name. He was really mad. The guy is coming down court. He just cold cocked him. And he hit him so hard that his face was separated from his skull.
How the hell is that even possible?
It was. He ended up being a coach later on.
Yikes! His face.
Something Gunovich was his name that got hit.
That is nuts. Wow. But then we also have, instances like the guy threw the drink or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So, 1991, Evander Holyfield defeated George Foreman in 12 rounds for heavyweight boxing title. Yeah, I'm putting these in here because, people don't realize just how enduring. A round lasts about 3 minutes. Okay, now
it is 3 minutes.
Yeah,
not a round.
One round is 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine standing up, ducking, dodging, punching. duck and weaving. Do that for 3 minutes. Now
Try
do
that
that
for 30 seconds and you'll be exhausted.
Yeah, now that's what I'm saying. Try that for 3 minutes. Now do it 12 times.
Oh, I know.
You know, you will be dead at the end. So that's the massive respect to these boxers. 1991, Greyhound Bus posted a $195 million loss for 1990. Now here we go. 1993, the 51-day FBI siege of the Branch Davidian building in Waco, Texas, United States, ended when a fire broke out. 76 Davidians, including 18 children under the age of 10, died in the blaze. Waco, Texas. So another big thing right there.
Yeah.
1993, South Dakota Governor George S. Mickelson and 7 others were killed when a state-owned aircraft crash lands in Iowa. That almost sounds like a assassination right there. Whenever somebody dies in a plane, so like a governor or some celebrity or somebody with any notoriety dies in an aircraft thing or whatever, it just seems a little fishy. Not to say that aircraft never crash,
Right.
but I mean, like
I don't know.
he was the
a lot
active
of presumption.
Yeah. 94, Grimmy Aubrey Bicycles world record 10 kilometers in 11 hours, 25 minutes, and 80, or I guess 10 kilometers in 11 minutes, 25 seconds, or 25.88 seconds, I guess, because that's a decimal, not a hyphen.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So wouldn't it be, how many kilometers?
10.
Oh, it wasn't going to be hours then.
So 11 minutes, I guess.
11 minutes, yeah. 25
That's pretty
seconds.
fast.
0.8
Yeah.
something seconds.
Okay. I wonder if that record's been broken.
Probably.
We also have 1994, Grammy Aubrey Bicycle. Oh, we got that one. In the Katha ended boycott of South African multiracial election. So they were boycotting South Africa because
Who was boycotting? Who was that?
in Katha.
I don't even know what that is.
I have no idea either. Let's look this
Is
up
that
here.
a place, a person, or what?
I don't know.
Or a group?
Oh, in
When
Katha Freedom Party, right-wing political party in South
so
Africa.
it is a group. Okay.
Yeah, okay. 1994, Rodney King was awarded $3,800,000 compensation by the Los Angeles County for his police beating. Now I'm not endorsing the beating, but like not every ass kicking falls out of the sky, and a lot of people don't look into it. Rodney King was not being a model citizen.
Yeah.
Now he got thrashed, but it's not like he was just there and he got his ass
Of course
handed to
not.
him.
Of course not. It was.
So-
But the point being, it wasn't justified to. He wasn't threatening all the men waving a gun, and they
Yeah.
had to do what they. No. What. He deserved to be arrested and taken away.
But not beat.
But the beating, and they beat the hell out of him.
But see, like like certain political, allegiances. They're like, oh, this poor innocent angel Aladdin. No, he's not innocent. So, 1994 as well. U.S. Supreme Court outlawed excluding people from juries because of gender. Like, I can't believe especially that late. But why do we have to have all this stuff? Like that's a given.
No.
You should not be excluding anything.
Of course.
So. Another big one here, 1995, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City was bombed, killing 168 people, including 19 children under the age of 6. So we have the discovery of Australia, we have the start of the American Revolution, we have the Oklahoma City bombing, we have Waco, we have the other things. So much stuff happened on this date. It's crazy. You know?
Yeah.
That's why we have
a busy history day.
It's a busy day. 1998 PGA Seniors Championship Men's Golf, PGA National Golf Course. Hale Irwin makes it 3 straight titles in the event with a convincing 7-stroke margin over runner-up Larry Nelson. 3 straight titles, man. That's impressive.
Yeah. No.
99 German Reichstag reopened with new glass dome by architect Norman Foster, and the whole reason why they have that whole dome is so the people can look down at like their parliament or whatever it is, and the people are watching. The government is under the people.
Yeah.
The people are the power. We're looking down on them. That's how it's supposed to be. We also have the German Bundestag return to Berlin, and I have no idea what the heck that is.
No.
German Bundestag. Let's take a look at that really quick. Let's see here. It's a German federal parliament. Okay, so there you go. Well, I guess that's because the Reichstag opened, so like that's hand in hand. So we also have the Space Needle, built in 1961, and actually, here's Waco right there. So and then there's that.
That should never have happened.
No.
Never have happened.
Oh, this is what happens when your government becomes corrupt. When the wrong people have the guns, you know. The Space Needle, built in 1961, was declared a local historic landmark by the City Council of Seattle, Washington. Were we in? No, I don't think I've ever been in the Space Needle. Maybe I don't think so. I've been to Seattle.
Well, I've been there many times through it, actually, more than, but probably before. What year was that?
99.
Oh yeah, way before. I thought that was older than that. Huh.
Well,
I
it was-
would have put that back in the
It was
70s.
it was built in 61.
Okay, there
So,
you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was 99 then?
When it was declared a local historic landmark.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's when it was founded.
No.
Okay.
2000, Air Philippines Flight 541 crashed in Samal, Devado del Norte, killing all 131 people on board. Yikes. But then 2001, Space Shuttle Endeavour was launched on STS-100, carrying the Canadarm2 to the International Space Station. No, the Endeavour never exploded.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
think.
I have the wrong
It
one.
was the Challenger was the first
Yeah,
one, and then the
yeah.
Columbia.
Yeah.
So-
Which one had the teacher? The Challenger?
Challenger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a Challenger, and it failed the challenge. That's how I remember it. 2005, Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger was elected Pope, becoming Benedict the 16th on the second day of the Papal Conclave. So this is after Grandpa Pope, John Paul II died. And then this guy stepped down, and then now we have, who's the Pope now? Pope Francis, I think?
I think you're right.
Francis,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay,
think you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, he just was on his deathbed there for a while, but he's recovered.
Francis?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's pretty close to death.
yikes.
I think he's recovered. In fact, he came out and visited everybody, I think, in a wheelchair.
Yeah, man. Let's see here. 2011, Fidel Castro resigned his position of first secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Cuba after 45 years in power, having held the title since July of 1961.
Gave it to his brother.
Yep. Yeah, 2013, Boston Marathon bombing suspect Tamarian Sarnov was killed in a shootout with police. His brother Dzakar was later captured hiding in a boat
Oh,
inside a
yeah.
backyard in the suburb of
They made a
Watertown.
movie on that.
Yeah, I remember that. After 4 days.
Yeah.
2015, a boat carrying approximately 850 migrants was shipwrecked in the Mediterranean between Italy and Libya, with only 27 migrants rescued. Yikes. Only 27 out of 850. That is not good. 2017, now I never heard about this, but Fox News confirmed they would be letting go of Bill O'Reilly after allegations of sexual harassment.
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
had no idea that was the reason. I thought they just got rid of him. I didn't
No.
know the reason.
No.
Huh. No.
Someone on his staff or something.
Nah. And that's the no spin zone.
It was probably, I'm not going to comment on it. It doesn't matter what I think
Yeah.
or have heard. I don't think anything of what I heard.
Well, you can postulate if you want.
Well, it was consensual, but yes, she was on the staff, so she's an important subordinate. So, there you go.
So even if it's
And
consensual,
I may not be right.
it's always a man's fault.
Well, if you're in power, it is your fault.
Anyway, 2018, King Mswazi III of Swaziland changed the name of Swaziland to Eswatini, which translates as the land of the Swati. So it's no longer called Swaziland. I didn't know that. Huh.
I didn't either.
We also have Miguel Diaz-Canel was elected Cuba's new president after former President Raul Castro stepped down. So I didn't know that Cuba did that either. I thought Raul was still the leader.
I wasn't aware that he wasn't, but I'm not surprised that he isn't.
Yeah. He was
You know,
Fidel's brother. He's
he'd be
up there.
pretty old.
Yeah. But I never heard of this. So now the Castros are out of Cuba, at least leading it.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
2018, U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth, a Democrat from Illinois, is the first parent to bring a baby in the Senate chambers a day after the Senate votes to allow babies on the chamber's floor. Man,
Well, isn't that
you
ducky?
give a mouse a cookie, oh, you can do this. Oh, I can. Does it immediately. It's like, okay, geez,
You
man.
didn't like my little pun there?
What, ducky?
It wasn't that ducky.
I don't know,
That's
man.
you! I'm doing you!
Yeah. That was a little foul there.
See? Why do I bother?
2020 UK COVID, or the Kung Flu, death toll reached 16,060 in hospitals only, as the Sunday Times criticized Boris Johnson's government's response, saying they sleepwalked into disaster. He looks like Trump but acts like Biden. You know, sleepwalking into disaster.
You know, I said the untold story of this, and you never know what comes of it. But, you know, they shut everything down. You couldn't go to your doctor, blah, blah, blah. And what's the first line of defense for cancer? Early detection.
Yes.
So who didn't go and get early detected?
Oh, your brother?
No, I'm saying how many?
Oh, yeah.
My brother's fine.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, no, like this whole Kung Flu thing, the China virus, whatever you want to call it and all that stuff. I mean, like, it was so absurd. Like, I knew it, like, a practicing doctor. Like, he worked in the ER. And one time he had a patient come in on an ambulance, had been hit by a truck, unfortunately didn't make it, wrote it off as COVID. He got hit by a truck! How? Like,
I remember, and you couldn't find it, but you'd see it on podcasts or something before they got shut down. Doctors in the ER, in the know, were begging to take hydroxychloroquine.
And
He says it
ivermectin
works.
and-
If you take it in the beginning, it works.
Yes.
Please take it.
yeah, and then they shut him up and canceled him, and like,
Oh, yeah.
they took a lot of doctors' licenses away.
I don't
Yeah.
think that
Oh, they
happened
did.
to him, but well, I'm not
Maybe
saying it
not
didn't
him,
happen,
but
yeah.
like... Anyway, 2021, Cuba's Communist Party announced Miguel Diaz-Canel will replace Raul Castro as party leader after the latter
Yeah, we
steps
had
down. Well, no, this is when she will replace him when he steps down. So Raul Castro hasn't stepped down.
Okay.
So she got elected, but doesn't have office because the previous one has not stepped down. That's probably why we haven't heard of it, because he hasn't stepped down.
So he still may be in.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
What year was that?
It's 21.
Oh,
So
well,
4 years ago. Also 4 years ago in Las Vegas, Nevada, San Jose Sharks forward Patrick Marleau broke Gordie Howe's NHL record for most games played, now at 1,768 and counting. Woo!
Sheesh.
Man.
Wow.
We also have NASA successfully flew its drone helicopter Ingenuity on Mars, first powered aircraft to fly on another world. That was big. We have a flying drone on Mars now. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We also have New Zealand and Australia opened a travel bubble between the two countries for more than a year of border closures. And anyone who played the game Pandemic, you know, somebody coughed in China and New Zealand's like, close all the borders! We also have U.S. Brandon administration restored climate impacts and communities say to the National Environmental Protection Policy Act, previously removed by Donald Trump, and I wonder if he's removed him again. So
I don't know. I don't quite understand what that meant. But
it's just
doesn't matter.
environmental crap.
Yeah.
So U.S. inflation hit 8.5%, the highest since 1981, driven by a rise in gas prices, rent, and food. Let's go, Brandon! 2024, Taylor Swift released her 11th studio album, The Tortured Poets Department, setting a Spotify record for over 300 million streams in one day. I couldn't give a bloomin' nickel about Taylor Swift, but history is history, and 300 million streams in one day is pretty big.
Oh,
you know? So, yeah. And last but not least, we have the world's largest ever election began in India with 968 million eligible voters
Wow.
in the first of 7 stages ending on June 1st. 7 stages of voting, good God. And that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis. We can only bring you a portion. Please check our sources for more. For your dose of past events daily, we stream at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. Yeah, for all of you and all of us, I'm Xander.
Golden Loon.
Goose. There we go. And of course, you viewer, thank you so much for watching. And until you catch us next time, whenever it is, wherever it is, well, we have a new show coming up actually in a few hours. So yeah, until later.
What time?
3 p.m. Pacific time. So don't forget to look right and left at every intersection. Ray 5.